Welcome to Heal and Thrive, where we work through issues of low self-esteem and trauma to come out on the other side stronger and free to reach life's potential. Many people struggle to enjoy life truly. This is a significant issue for young professionals residing in large cities. To cope with the loneliness of living in a big city, they often look to go out with friends if they've even made any. And suppose they haven't made any, which is very common. In that case, they pick up the courage, at the risk of looking like a loner, to go to a bar or a comedy show, to at least break the monotony of staying in their lonely apartment every night after managing it through days on Zoom calls. Even if they have to go to work in person, their co-workers are just acquaintances. Here's a tale of Jeremy and Angela. Jeremy lives in Chicago. It's a bustling city with plenty to do. You would think he would have so much fun going to a bar with a few friends. He might meet a girl at the most, but at least he would have a fun time throwing back a few drinks. But night after night, none of that happens except maybe the getting wasted part. The main thing that happens with him is he spends all that time trying to appear fun or cool or interesting. He's not really having fun. In fact, it's a very unpleasant experience filled with anxiety. Angela lives in New York City. She has even more places to go out and have fun, but she has no friends she can call up. There are even more people in NYC, but it's harder for her there because of the hyper-individualism that makes room for only a few acquaintances. She decides to go out this Friday night. She's looked up where to go, the time she'd leave her apartment, and how long she'd spend at the bar. The night came, and she did follow through and went out. Only she returns to her apartment feeling even worse than when she left. Although Angela and Jeremy's stories are fictional, millions of people experience this. They are connected by a shared experience, but are as distant from each other as the cities they live in are from them. They just find it difficult to have any carefree fun. What they're hoping for is fun that's so good and satisfying that it's worth keeping as a cherished memory. But they just aren't getting that. It's made far worse because of low self-esteem from trauma. If this speaks to your experience and you just can't have fun when you go out, this is the reason why. Your mindset determines your life experience, but your mindset is as a result of the stories you hold about the world. There are stories you've been told about the world by people you've interacted with throughout your life. This includes people who are still in your life today. These are also stories you've told yourself. And a mixture of all these stories is what you've held on to and lived life by. Pain is as a result of the state of your mind. The proof is that a person under general anesthesia can't feel pain during a surgery. This shows how powerful the mind is. It has tremendous power to cause you to feel heightened sensations of pain. Pain at the end of the day comes from your mind, and this includes emotional pain. So what can you do about it? Well, what you can do is re-examine the stories you've been told. Very often they don't map onto reality. For example, if you've gone through the school system and you took it seriously, what story did that experience tell you about the consequences of not getting the narrowly asked questions on a test exactly right? No single question on a test in high school or college captures all the complexities in life that surrounds the subject matter being asked about. As a result, that narrow answer isn't guaranteed to work in real life. So if that's the case, is the story that the school system has taught you true? It taught you that to be successful, work hard to get the answer right the first time. No, that story wasn't true. The questions they asked you were themselves wrong, because in real life, you almost never have a perfectly isolated system where A plus B equals C is all you observe. In real life, you have to at least also take a look at D and E as well as F. The equation should be more complex, but imagine if you asked that question back to your teacher on the test. You would be marked down. They weren't really teaching a fully contextualized lesson that you can apply to real life, but they made it seem like they were. The better story is answers are arrived at through experimenting in real life and learning from what works, because life requires more than just straightforward single answers. In real life, you don't get it right the first time because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to learn by failing many times so you can observe your actions and the outcomes. All this is supposed to happen before you reach a decent answer full of context. We learn quickly once we're out of school that it takes hands-on experience to actually get good at producing value in real life. That's why after all that schooling, every decently paying job asks for work experience, the kind of real value people will pay you for. And so if all this time spent in school taught you the wrong lesson, what other stories have you been told that's in reality way off the mark? Other experiences that have fed the stories we have in our heads have forced us to be perfectionists. We've already talked about being penalized for non-perfection in schoolwork. What about bullying or sexual violence or other kinds of domestic violence or constant belittling? What story do you hold in your mind because of this? Did it tell you to be extremely careful about every small choice you make, or else? Fact is, you will catastrophize everything if you were punished for tiny mistakes. The story can be worse if you're punished for no reason. For some of us, it wasn't even about avoiding punishment, because that was inevitable. It was trying to pick the lesser punishment, because no matter what you did, you would be punished. This can be a very sad situation where you're preyed on by cowards who happen to also be sadists. They just enjoy making people suffer so long as they can get away with it. It could also just be that you get criticized for what you wear regardless of what it is. Because of this, you catastrophize everything. You feel the need to think long and hard about even the most mundane things you have to do. Is your story about the world all about waiting anxiously for punishment and the need to avoid pain? If that's a story you still hold, you need to re-examine it. Is this story still true where you are now in life? Or is this a hangover from a previous life? If it's from a previous life, why are you still holding on to it? If it's part of your life now, question the story that says you have to stay there. How can you have fun going out if you have these stories about the world in your head? Even if you save up to go on an expensive vacation, your thoughts are still with you. Those stories of a frightening world that punishes you for existing after rejecting you is still making you anxious. And so your night out doesn't bring happiness. It only amplifies what you already have in you. You must begin to change the stories in your mind. So many of the stories anxious people hold in their heads are at best part truths that aren't even worth holding on to. In most cases, they are just lies. Maybe the reason you didn't make any new friends is because you are not actually looking for friends. You just don't want to look like a loser. Proof that you don't really want friends may be you've pushed away people who've made the effort to be your friend in the past. Is the story in your head that they'll eventually hurt you? Or is the story that you don't want them to find out about the real you because you think they'd reject the real you if they see past the facade? Are you protecting the facade? The main characteristics of a truly satisfying friendship are vulnerability and playfulness, where egos are set aside. True friends aren't thinking whether they're bothering you when they call you at work, or barge into your house, or jump onto your bed with zero respect for your personal space, or eat your food in the fridge, because they're fully ready for the fight if you get upset because either you do it too or you do some other thing that they find annoying. You truly know each other. You know instinctively without saying it that you're protective of each other. This kind of relationship is not formed from facades and plenty of acting. These fake stories you've been told were for other people's benefit. They weren't told to you because they were true. And so after questioning your current stories, the second step is this. Tell yourself true and positive stories about the world. These are good stories that talk about all the good things you have in your life right now that you can be grateful for. These are also all the good things that will happen as you work towards them. Identify all the stories you hold about the world and question them. The purpose of questioning them is to come out with a positive story about life. Even the most horrible realities in life, like famines and wars and modern-day slavery, all have a positive story to be contextualized in which is that all of these horrible things can be ended someday. There's that hope. And so if even things like those can be contextualized, then the stories, most of which aren't even true, that you hold in your mind about your life can be retold. Think positive thoughts. You might also ask how we know that the positive stories you observe in your life are actually true. How we know is this: you probably have something to be grateful for. This could include having this day. You're alive. And being alive is a gift. You probably also have many other things to be grateful for. But for those parts of your life that you wish would change, the good story, which is true, is you can improve those parts. And you have the chance to embark on an adventure to go solve those problems in your life. Perhaps one day, you could turn around and show others in similar circumstances as you are in now how you got out of it. And so you have that better day to look forward to and have a new purpose to help others who are in the same situation as you are in now. If you've been a perfectionist, remember that you're human. Stop trying to get everything right the first time. Embrace failing and failing a lot. Laugh at how goofy you are when you're trying something for the first time. Don't catastrophize it. Believe that you'll get better. And even more than that, believe that you will succeed in the end. Don't just accept the tyranny of unreasonable people who want to intimidate you for not getting it right the first time. What this new story does for you is help you move forward with starting new businesses. If you start a business and only get a few customers, that shouldn't be a downer. Why would you want a massive audience when your business is still at its infancy? If you started a podcast and still barely get any listeners, the question is your content good yet? Why would you want a large audience to listen to you while you're still figuring things out? Do you want them to watch you clumsily try to get on your feet like a baby deer? No, you want to show off your skills at business or at podcasting when you're already skilled. And so enjoy the fun of getting better and better. Is your current story that you shouldn't make mistakes? The new story is you will make mistakes. So don't be wedded to a specific result. You only cause yourself anxiety that way. Just clarify your goals. Write them down if you need to. Go out there and get them done. But don't forget to be flexible and to enjoy the journey there. Most mistakes are tiny and will be forgotten. You don't need to be defaulting to worrying. It's not helpful. The thing you're worrying about might not even matter a year from now. It's important to catch yourself and remember how small what you're worrying about is. In a month or two, it probably wouldn't matter either way if you did it one way or another, let alone in a year or two. The additional weight of worrying is not adding anything valuable. It's only taking away from your peace and enjoyment. Now that's just one story retold. What other stories do you need to retell yourself? How about that standoffish person who was rude to you? Were they only dealing with their own insecurities the best way they know how? How about the clique you wanted to be a part of but don't seem to want you? You are valuable regardless, but perhaps you have yet to choose to put in the work to be as polished as the people you want to be around. Remember, they also put in the work to be that polished and looking so cool. Again, your mindset determines your life experience. Retell your stories and stop catastrophizing everything. Most of all, think positive thoughts. If you found this content useful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.